I tell people that I wasn't broken because I was a stripper. I was a stripper because I was broken. Not having a dad present for most of my life, having a mom that I loved her and respected her so much for all that she did, but because she was doing it alone, she wasn't around a lot, and I just really didn't have any sort of self-respect for myself or for my body. And the only way that I could try and fill that void, that I knew how to try and fill that void, was through physical contact with men. But all it was doing in reality was making that void bigger and bigger and bigger. I started college at 16. I was gonna go to school for physical therapy. Dabbled a little bit. I can't even say dabbled a little bit. I was a stoner. I smoked a lot of weed. I was at a friend's house picking up some marijuana. His girlfriend came home. She was gorgeous, just dolled up, looked amazing. She handed her boyfriend this humongous stack of money. Whoa, what do you do for a living? And she said that she was an exotic dancer. I said, whoa, I need to get my hands on that kind of money. This was my ticket for independence. So I began dancing when I was 18 and I stopped when I was 23. When I first started, I was so excited. I felt so beautiful. I felt desired and pursued. You get flooded with compliments on your beauty, and it feels really good in the moment. But there was a lot of disrespect in there. It's this vicious cycle. The women are after the money, and the men are after that instant gratification of feeling connected to a woman in the moment, even though the connection is completely fake and the women are acting. It doesn't matter for the men. They both have something that each other desires that is full of sin, and it's unhealthy, and it's feeding the brokenness. I fed off of men's loneliness, and I took advantage of that. And they were taking advantage of me and feeding off of my brokenness. There was never anything that was for free. Jesus gives us the free gift of love. We don't get that in there. Everything comes at a price. The first thing you want to do when you get home is shower, because you just feel dirty. And you are, in a very literal sense, very dirty from hands and money. Money's filthy. I wasn't liking the person that I saw in the mirror looking back at me. Not to mention the physical issues that I have with my body now from wearing 9-inch stilettos every single day. I have incredible knee problems, low back problems, neck problems, and I'm not even 30. Physically a wreck from the damage I did. I started working at a club that served alcohol. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 women that came in and sat down, and I thought that they were lesbians. And they wound up telling me that they were there to give me a gift. And so then I was thinking, who told them it was my birthday? Because I had just turned 21 days before. I open up the gift and there's lip gloss and earrings and cute girly stuff and a Bible. Wah wah. I just went, oh, you're barking up the wrong tree. And I went back to the dressing room and I said, hey girls, we have some Bible thumpers out there. Just beware, those women are here to preach Jesus. But they were wonderful. They were so sweet and so loving, and unlike any other Christian I'd ever encountered before. The day that I gave my life to Christ, 2.5 years later, I went home and that Bible was in my bookshelf, still wrapped in cellophane. And I pulled it out and I unwrapped the cellophane, and I was so grateful to have a Bible the day that I gave my life to Christ. I met a man while I was working in the club, and he told me that he was a porn producer. I was very intrigued and started asking a lot of questions. I had gone home and discussed it with my husband, and he said absolutely not. Our marriage would be over. I told him, well, if you don't like it, then you can pack your bags and leave. That was how addicted I was to money and vanity. We were talking about meeting at the studio the following week. That Sunday was when my mom asked me to go to church with her, and I went. I felt like I was the only one in the church service, and that the pastor was God speaking directly to me, is what I felt like. I was just being talked to by my daddy. The pastor was saying, right now is all we have. And I just remember thinking, tomorrow is not promised. And if I die tomorrow, I don't have any good promises coming my way. I was just so far from God that how could I ever expect him to allow me to come knocking on his door and say, okay, can you let me in? And I just realized right there in that moment, I have a choice right now to make. What am I going to choose? Am I going to choose life, or am I going to choose death? And I chose life. People are very misinformed when they believe that they have to get their act together before they come to Christ. Christ died on the cross for our sins. If we got ourselves all together and clean and perfect, that's never going to happen. So we're never going to encounter him if we wait on that. The purpose of that is to let Jesus do it for us. Let him cleanse us. Let him fix our mess.
Now I am changed. Now I am free. You call me loved, and I believe there is no darkness that will not flee. Sin has lost its grip on me. Give me wings to fly above when you call me loved.
When I first gave my life to Christ and somebody at the church found out what I had just come from, they said, oh, there's this amazing outreach team. And I was like, oh, I know who they are. I'm not going. I thought that all that they did was go into the clubs, and I didn't want the people that I was just working with think that I'm going in there preaching Jesus, and that I think I'm better than them because I got out. Then I finally, a year and a half into my walk with Christ, went. They were just the most real, transparent, humble group of women I've ever encountered. Felt like I was home. The leader came to me and said, I was just in the club and this girl was crying her eyes out to me, and I felt like I was the completely wrong person to be speaking to her. You should have been there. Going into the clubs and bringing gifts to these women and showering them with a free gift of love, just like Jesus does, and to tell them, hey, just so you know, the God of the universe who created the heavens and the earth and you loves you with all of his heart, and there's nothing that you could ever do to change that, is the greatest honor, that somebody loves them unconditionally. We don't know what unconditional love is in this life. Only Jesus gives us that. And to share that with them is such an honor and such a blessing.